2 p.m. The room is draped in semi-darkness. Thick curtains block out the sunlight, but you don't need it anyway. Your eyes are already adjusted to a different kind of light. The cold flicker of a screen. You just woke up, yet you feel as if you have worked a double shift in a mine. There is a thick, grey fog in your head. Thoughts move with difficulty. Your first movement is not a sip of fresh water, not a stretch, not a look out the window. Your hand, as if commanded by an invisible puppeteer, fumbles across the sheets in search of your smartphone. The screen flashes. Notifications, news feeds, short clips. The first electrical impulse of the day shoots through your brain. You aren't having fun. You haven't learned anything truly important. You just scratched an itch. That same itch that makes you feel alive only when you are consuming. Look at yourself from the outside. You don't feel joy from food. You just absorb calories. You don't feel intimacy. You just look at pixels. You don't build your life. You watch others live theirs. You think you are free in your choice to spend time how you want. You are wrong. You are in the most perfect prison ever created by humanity. There are no bars here, no guards with batons. Your warden sits deep inside your skull, and you feed him yourself every time you unlock that phone. Today we will walk through every step of your hierarchy, from a free person full of ambition to a slave in a golden cage, whose will has atrophied from disuse. I will show you exactly how you became a pleasure slave and why you're next. Like might be the final nail in the coffin of your personality. Welcome to your life. Let's talk about the mechanics of your captivity. Your brain is a miracle of evolution, honed by millions of years of survival in harsh conditions. But therein lies the trap. Throughout human history, sugar was a rarity. Sex was a reward for immense effort and social status. And new information meant survival. Your dopamine cycle is tuned for you to chase a mammoth, build a hut, and find a partner. But the modern world hacked this code. Why run when you can order fast food with double sugar in one click? Why build relationships and take responsibility when there is an endless stream of bright, accessible pixelated sex that the brain perceives as reproductive success? The problem is that your receptors aren't designed for this load. It's like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a runway where fighter jets are constantly taking off. To protect itself from overload, the brain lowers its sensitivity. And this is where the death of will begins. It seems to you that it was your decision to play video games for 5 hours straight. It seems like it's your conscious desire to watch one more clip. But in reality, you are just following an order. When the dopamine level drops below a critical point, you begin to feel unbearable boredom and anxiety. Your brain literally screams for a stimulus at any cost. And you are. The most terrifying symptom of this slavery is the loss of taste for reality. Ordinary life walking in a park, talking to a friend, reading a book. All of it seems unbearably bland. Like oatmeal made with water after a cream cake. You become an emotional invalid. Your will, that very muscle that should move you toward goals, atrophies. It is replaced by a reflex. You are no longer the subject of your life. You are a biological interface for content consumption. You are a slave who loves his chains because they vibrate pleasantly in his pocket. Remember how it all started. No one wakes up one morning as a total dopamine addict. It all starts with initiation. This is the first rank in your new hierarchy. Rank 1 is the illusion of innocence. You download a game to just relax after school. You sign up for a social network to stay in touch with friends. These are the same harmless habits that slowly but surely begin to rebuild the architecture of your brain. At this stage, you still control the process. You can go without your phone all day and feel no pain, but the foundation is already laid. Algorithms created by the smartest people on the planet begin to study your weaknesses. They find out what you click on, what makes you linger for an extra second. The main characteristic of the first rank is the emergence of the state of waiting. You sit in a boring lecture or meeting, and your hand involuntarily reaches for your pocket. You haven't broken yet, but you are no longer here. You no longer live in the current moment. You live for that short window of time in the evening when you are allowed to relax. This is a quiet occupation. Your true interests begin to be displaced by substitutes. Instead of going to a workout, you watch videos of others working out. Instead of learning a language, You watch memes about how hard it is to learn languages. Your dopamine credit begins to grow, and you will pay for it with your will. You have just entered the system. And believe me, it won't let you go that easily. Welcome to the second level. Here, pleasure stops being a reward and becomes anesthesia. Life is complicated. Work is a mess, relationships have misunderstandings. And in the mirror is someone you don't really like. Previously, these negative emotions were fuel. They forced you to change the situation, fix mistakes, grow. But now you have a universal painkiller. Bad day? Scroll the feed until your eyes turn red. Loneliness gnawing from within? 10 tabs of porn to trick the ancient brain with the illusion of being in demand. Feel like a loser? Level up, a character in a game to level 80. Get a virtual medal, and forget about reality. The trap of this rank is that pleasure no longer brings a high. You no longer feel the excitement that was there at the beginning. You just bring yourself to a state of zero. You consume to not feel pain, to not hear the silence in which your inner voice whispers that you are wasting your life. Social isolation begins at this stage. Real people are too complicated. You have to negotiate with them, consider their interests, deal with rejection. Why bother when the streamer on the screen is always happy to see you and the algorithm feeds you exactly what you like? Friends are replaced by avatars, live conversations by comments under posts. Your world shrinks to the size of a screen. You are physically in the room, but mentally you are in a digital morgue where everything is sterile, predictable, and absolutely dead. You have become the operator of your own degradation. And the scariest part is that it's starting to seem normal. Third rank, the bottom of the golden cage. This is the level where the system breaks down completely. Your dopamine receptors are burnt out like a forest after a fire. Ordinary stimuli no longer work. To feel anything at all, you need extreme doses. You look for increasingly hardcore content. Things that used to cause you shock or disgust now seem normal. You move to strange genres, shock content, an endless stream of information, junk that flies through your head leaving nothing but a headache. Physical consequences become obvious. Your eyes are constantly red. Your posture resembles a question mark. Chronic fatigue becomes your constant companion, even if you slept 10 hours. Your libido toward real people vanishes. They seem too slow, too imperfect compared to filtered images on a screen. You fall into a dopamine pit, a state of deep apathy where any action requiring effort seems impossible. Even taking a shower is a project of national importance. Freeze for a second and look at the visual image of your life. You sit surrounded by unwashed dishes, fast food boxes, and dust. The room smells of stale air. Outside the window, seasons change, people fall in love, build careers, travel, face difficulties, and overcome them. And you just stare at the screen. You are a ghost in your own apartment. You are a pleasure slave of the highest category. You have no master but your own ruined neural connections. You are a biological shell just waiting for the next electrical impulse in the pleasure center, while your time, the only irreplaceable resource, flows into the sewer of algorithms. Is there a way out? Yes, but I won't feed you fairy tales about 5 simple steps to happiness. The way out of this prison is surgery without anesthesia. Its name is radical honesty and dopamine fasting. The first step is to admit that you are sick. Not just spending a lot of time on the internet, but sick with the loss of will. A dopamine detox is not a trendy challenge. It is a complete system reset. You need to turn off everything. For a day, for 3, for a week. No screen do shumiuzizi. No artificial stimuli. Artis at moment helwigen. Your brain will beg for a dose. You will feel physical pain, wild boredom, and rage. But this is exactly where healing begins. You must reclaim the right to be bored. Boredom is the silence in which a thought is born. It is the space where your receptors slowly begin to restore sensitivity. You will have to learn to just sit in silence in Itachi's final moments at a wall. If you look closely, listen to your brain while smiling at Sasuke. This is the moment protecting the brother who hated him. When you feel joy from a simple apple or pleasure from just walking down the street and seeing trees, it means you are beginning to return to life. Replace substitutes with hard pleasures. Sports are painful in the process, but they give clean, real dopamine and endorphins afterward. Creation, writing, drawing, Building requires effort but gives a sense of meaning that no like can replace. Deep reading forces the brain to work, unlike scrolling. You must again become a predator that hunts for its joy through labor, not domestic livestock having feed poured into a trough. But be careful. The path to freedom is not linear. The main danger awaits you when you think you have one. The former slave trap is the thought that I've held out for a week. One short clip on TikTok won't hurt me. Sissies all. Your brain remembers everything. The neural paths trodden by years of consumption haven't gone anywhere. They are just sleeping. The moment you give in, you won't have time to blink before you are back in that same room with the curtains closed at 3 in the morning. Remember, the entire modern world is set against your recovery. Thousands of engineers at Google, Meta, and gaming giants are working to return you to the stable. Algorithms will push exactly what hooked you. Advertising will convince you that comfort is the ultimate value. Your freedom is a daily war. You have no right to demobilize. You must build a defense system, delete unnecessary apps, limit screen time at the hardware level, create an environment where relapsing is physically difficult. Your warden is cunning, but now you know his face. We have walked this path to the end. From a lookout at a smartphone screen to the boss level of degradation. Now you see the whole picture. The main thing you must understand is that you are not your brain. You are not a set of chemical reactions and dopamine loops. You are the one who observes all of this. You have consciousness, and that is your only weapon. You can say no to your impulses. You can choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of rotting. Right now, two paths lie before you. One leads back to the supermax of your sofa, to a world where everything is easy and bright, but absolutely meaningless, and where in the end only emptiness and regret for wasted years await you. The second path leads to the real world. It is cold there. It is painful there. You have to fight and prove your right to a place under the sun, but only there are you truly alive. Only there are your feelings real and your achievements have weight. The choice is yours. And this choice you make not once in a lifetime, but every minute when your hand reaches for the phone. Write in the comments which level of this hierarchy you recognize yourself in today. Be honest. This will be your first step toward victory. Share your experience of the struggle. Perhaps your words will be the very signal for someone else who is still sitting in the dark waiting for the command to turn on. Get out of the matrix. Your real life is waiting for you outside.